Hey guys, this is the Tech Prepper. So I promise this is the last video I'm going to do on my dry run for Field Day 2020. I finally have the entire system set up so that I could do HF and VHF and UHF work. The pack is actually really light, so let's just get right to full dump. And I may do some video of setting up some of the other pieces like the antenna today, but I'm not going to set up the tarp shelter, table, and chairs since I've already shown that in the last couple of videos. This table that's seen right here, this is not part of my pack out for field day. This is just so that I have a place to drop everything off. So the first thing in my kit is a pair of trekking poles. This is used for the tarp shelter system I had in the last video. I'll put a link below to that. I've got two items from Haley Strategic. One is the D3 CRM chest rig, and then the small flat pack. So starting with what's on my chest, I have a VHF UHF handy talkie. This is the Yaesu FT60R. I have a 750 milliliter bottle of water. This is just a camelbak. I do want to be comfortable. I know that I was super crazy about the size of the pack, but I am bringing a Yeti. And this is a cool beer that the neighbors shared with us last night. It's a non-alcoholic beer, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher the name, but it's called clausthaler, and it's a dry hopped IPA from Germany. So actually I'm going to go ahead and maybe crack that open right now while it's still cold. All right, cheers guys. I have the Light My Fire Mora knife, and again this has the ferro rod at the end, and it's just a great inexpensive field knife. I'll put links into the Amazon store below for some of the products that I've actually purchased on Amazon if anybody is interested and wants to support the channel. I also have my Leatherman Mutt in the other pistol magazine holder. I have a Ziploc bag with a few things here, a compass, a Right in the Rain notebook, and the USGS topo map for the area I will be in. I may want to do a small day hike at some point if I need to take a break from operating. And then I also have printouts of some of the frequencies just in case I need them, and also just the manuals cheat sheet for my two radios I'm taking with me, the yaesu 818ND and the handheld FT60R. And then I also have a small sport wallet with my ID and a single credit card. So that does it pretty much for the chest rig. Let's go ahead and take off this bad boy. All right. And I'm going to fully detach the chest rig here and put this to the side. Since this pack is quite tiny, I had to use a carabiner to attach a 40-ounce clean canteen. And what I'm going to do now real quickly is I'm going to remove the tarp roll at the bottom. All right, so as I mentioned before, this is the tarp that I'm using for my shelter system, and it came in handy to really put in three pieces of gear here. Okay, so the first is my REI Flex Light chair, and they do have a couple of stakes in here as well that work with the tarp. And then I have a small tabletop camera tripod, so I'll be using this to film the videos kind of at an angle. It's not perfect, but I'm certainly not going to bring my large tripod. I showed this in the last video. This is the Trekology table. This is where I'm going to be setting up all of my gear, my radio, my coffee cup, things like that. And we'll go ahead and put the tarp shelter aside. This actually was the case for my tripod that I film on, but I'm using it to transport my antenna. I don't think I've shown this in detail on the channel yet, but my primary antenna system is the ATOS 25. It is a manually tuned antenna that works from, I think it's 80 meters all the way up to 70 centimeters. So for this system, I have a few things. First, I have my Rig Expert Zoom 35, and the reason I need to take this with me is that I do need to manually tune the antenna, and the SWR meter on the yaesu 818ND is not real great. And then I also have two extra, I don't know if you can see that, two extra batteries just in case this goes out. So I'll be using this to tune the antenna really quickly. I'm pretty good with it now, so I know pretty much where I need to set things on 10 meters. And then I have 25 feet of coax. This is RG8X. So this is going to be great just to kind of get the antenna, give the antenna some distance between myself and that system. In here I have the counterpoise wires for the antenna. There are 3 of varying distance or lengths. And then I've got a couple of tools in a bag here, the Allen wrench key and some of the other pieces to assemble the elements for the antenna. So nice lightweight. This actually is a system that I just built for the backyard. I've got another one here. So in terms of mounting the ATOS 25, what I have is a small piece of PVC pipe with a couple of holes drilled into each side, end cap, and then 1/4 inch threads coming out of it. And the idea is to take the actual antenna and just thread it on here and use it like a ground stake. So before I actually thread it on, the plan is actually pretty simple. So I don't know if I'll need 1 or 2 ground stakes. In the yard I just have 1. So all I'm going to do is stick one end through here, and then with the same rock I'm going to use to put the tarp shelter up, I'll just whack this down so this will be sitting pretty much just below ground level, and then I'll attach the antenna. The ground spike systems I found online were for cameras, and they would work really well with the system, but they were 35 bucks. I built this thing for probably $1.50. And it's kind of nice to have the entire antenna system in just this one bag here. Yeah, so this is the main housing for the ATOS 25. It is a spring, it's got a coil spring, so I can do really coarse grain attachments or adjustments. So I'll use this to get up into 10 meters, but it works all the way to 80. And then I can also turn it counterclockwise or clockwise to get micro adjustments. And I'll dial it into the digital portion of the 10-meter band to make sure that I get a really low SWR. So I'm usually around 1.1 SWR with this antenna. And this is the one that was designed for the yaesu 817 and 818ND. So really nice antenna. And then to protect the elements and various radials, I just have a cheap piece of tubing here. And so here is the, all right, I'm gonna have to pop this through here. All right, those guys are in pretty tight. Okay, so I have 3 elements. I'll actually be using all 3, so these will just thread into each other at its full length with the base on the ground. It stands about 7 feet tall, not too bad. And then on the base here, we have elements for 2 meters and 70 centimeters, and they just stick out horizontally. So technically, I really don't, if I want to cut weight, I don't need my handheld. I can use 2 meter and 70 centimeter on my 818 ND. And that's another reason why I like that radio. It's all band, all mode, so I don't have to compromise. The only issue is QRP, but I like backpacking, and I'm actually loving QRP. I may not even upgrade to a bigger HF radio with more power once I get licensed. All right, so that's it for the antenna system. I'm telling you, luxury items like this are going to be fantastic on this trip. Now, for anybody familiar with the Haley Strategic Flat Pack, again, I don't get paid by Haley Strategic. They don't know who I am. I paid with this for my own money. There are no affiliate links. I love this pack. I tried before this to use the bigger Pro, but the problem I had is that the Pro that I have is the gray pack. I forget what they call it, but it's more like the gray man one, and it does not have MOLLE attachments. So while it fit all my gear a bit better and freed up some room on my chest rig, I couldn't use my straps to strap my table, my chair, and my antenna. So by some miracle of packing, I got it all in this rig here. All right. So I know people in the comments are going to complain. I haven't had the time to go get a smaller canister of fuel. So I'm going to be taking this. I'm cooking 3 meals. So I'm counting coffee, oatmeal or eggs, and then probably some kind of chili for lunch, even though it's going to be 95 or 100 plus degrees. I don't care. So fuel. I've got a Benadryl itch pen here, mostly because everything here in the desert wants to prick and sting you. Just in case I get stuck overnight, which I doubt it, an extra pair of CR123 batteries for my everyday carry flashlight. This is the Olight SR1 Battalion. I love these lights. I can never keep enough of them around the house. And then I have my Altoid first aid kit, and then there's also a lighter in here as well. So that's it for the outer pouch. And as you can see, I have it fully extended here. So I've have the bag kind of deployed at its maximum capacity. All right, so next up is just my toiletry kit. This is hand sanitizer, toilet paper, baby wipes, stuff like that. Because I will be operating long enough where I may have to be nature boy for a bit. Yep, so that's everything on this pouch. And then on the main pouch, I've got my food pack for the day. So I have some oatmeal, 3 packs of coffee, Cliff Bar, Power Bar, nuts, and what else do I have in here? Oh, I've got enough for my 2 meals and a snack. Even in the desert, I always carry a very ultra lightweight jacket. So there are monsoons. We're approaching monsoon season. July's a bit early for it, but if it comes in, I'll be lucky to have this jacket. So it doesn't matter how hot it is, I always have that in my kit. All right, here's the nesting cup for me to cook. Usually it's nested in this guy, but I didn't have enough room. In terms of power, I've got a Bioeno 4.5 hour battery. This is all I need to operate 8 or 9 hours with the radio that I have. And again, everything I do is pretty much all Ziploc all the time to waterproof everything. This pouch, I've shown it before, basically just has the charger for my watch, charger for my iPhone, since that's the primary way that I film all my videos. So not much to that. I've got the mic for my 818 ND, since I will be trying single sideband on 10 meters for the first time. And then I have an extra 3000 milliamp hour Talent cell. I'll put this link down below too. And while I can run the Raspberry Pi off this and have the cables to do it, it's primarily to top off the phone or my iPad if I need it. And then I've got an extra 2 feet of Anderson terminated Powerpole connectors for power. I couldn't find a 1-foot one, and I don't want to cut this one in half since this is the one I use for my shack. So an extra foot of Anderson Powerpoles is what I'm working with. All right. The radio and my iPad 2. In another Ziploc bag. So I'm using the iPad 2. This is super old. I don't even know how old this is, but it works perfectly. So I've got VNC loaded on here. I already have the Wi-Fi configured for my Raspberry Pi that I'll show in a second, and I'll be operating primarily FT8 for field day. My goal is to see how many of the 50 states I can make contacts with on FT8. This is fully topped off, but again, I can charge it with the talent cell if needed. And then I have my yaesu 818 ND. I just can't say enough good things about this radio. Just beautiful radio. I've got 2 Tupperwares. My wife is going to kill me because I'm constantly taking her nice Tupperware. So this has the signalink. This is the modem that I'll be working with my yaesu. And then I have the USB cable and the cable to connect it to the radio. Oh, perfect. Things are slightly out of order. Here is the stove cooktop for my propane or butane propane fuel. All right. Yeah, I think that's everything in the bag. All right, so the last one here, this is just the Raspberry Pi. So I have the cat control cable for the radio, USB. I have a buck converter to go step down 12 volts down to 5 volts. This is for the Raspberry Pi. I've got a 1-foot segment of the Anderson Powerpoles. I've got a PowerWorks, I don't know, my glasses are falling off today. PowerWorks distribution block, so I'll connect the battery to one of the leads here. The other one will go to the Raspberry Pi 3 B+, and then the other one to the radio. I've got a really cool screwdriver pen from Ace Hardware, and this is just so that I can thread down the connectors if they become loose. That has happened. I also carry the this little Gerber dime, which also is a backup screwdriver just in case. Okay. And last but not least are the cables, the power cables for the Raspberry Pi, and of course the Raspberry Pi 3B+. The one thing I did do was I ordered a secondary Wi-Fi dongle from Canikit, and all I did was configure it to be in host AP mode. I did not configure bridge networking to complicate matters, so I've got one wireless NIC when I'm at the house will actually connect online, but when I'm out in the field, I don't need internet access or don't have access to it. So rather than doing complicated networking, I just opted for a small $10 dongle, just configured host AP mode. So the iPad will just connect to this network, and then I can VNC right into it and do all my digital work. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm actually gonna take you with me on field day. I'm not gonna do a dump of all this, but I am gonna do probably a sped up capture of the entire camp setup, and then probably jump in just to show you some cool QSOs on single sideband and then on FT8 digital, and maybe just share some meals with you guys. So I hope everybody's enjoying the channel. One thing I want to do, just to thank you guys all for your subscription, My goal is to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year. We're at 127 as of today. So what I've done to help you guys and also to help the channel a bit, I want to replace the this kind of somewhat expensive Rig Expert antenna analyzer with something more portable, and I ordered the Nano Vector Network Analyzer, and I ordered two, one for me and one for you. So when we hit 200 subscribers, I'll do something special. I don't know if I'm going to do a stream or not, and I'll put some instructions on how to win that that network analyzer for free. And what I'll do is I'm also going to do one at 300 subs, 400, and 500. So keeping in the theme with prepping and kind of comms readiness, the Nano VNC will be the first one. I'll probably be doing the Baofeng UV5R as the second giveaway at 300. A Sawyer inline mini filter for 400, and then I'm going to figure out probably something nicer for 500. So if you guys stick with me, I'd appreciate it. We're still trying to grow the channel, so feel free to share, like, comment, do all that stuff. And I would be interested to know what you guys are doing for field day. Let me know if I've gone a bit overboard with my planning. I'm brand new to this hobby and just kind of learning the ropes. So be strong, be safe, and be prepared.